What is going on YouTube? I'm back with another video of how I made the dreamiest guitar melody ever. It sounds like something that would go good with an artist like Cash Page or even SZA. Let's get right into it. So in order for this to work, I had to change the setting of FL to make it a 6/8 time signature. So for that, I went over to the emitting settings, came over to project tab, and where it says numerator and denominator, just changed it to 6 and change the denominator to 8. Now after I did that, I had to crank up the BPM up to 160 because the lower BPMs, it just didn't sound too good. It sounded way too slow and I didn't want that. So unlike all my other beats where I start with a piano or a pad, I started with a guitar. And y'all already know which VST I used for this, the Go Flex. The very first guitar was the H9 line acoustic guitar. And this is the pattern that I laid out. Very simple pattern that now that I look at it, all it is basically a C sharp major chord just broken up a bit. And to get this sound a little bit more realistic, I came up to the randomized tool and played with each of the velocities and the panning just so you can hear it from each side of the speaker. By itself, the guitar sounds really dry with nothing on it, with no effects, so I immediately had to throw on a few things just to get that dreamy vibe that I wanted. First thing I did was throw on an EQ where I rolled out a bit of the low end, followed by using the effect rack where I used the dark dirty chorus 8th preset and add on a bit of retro 20 color. If it opens, you better not crash. For RC20, I had selected the Final 1 preset and I turned the space down, which really acts like a delay effect. And after that, I used vintage chorus. Now with all of the effects, this is what it sounds like. Completely night and day from how it sounded dry to what it sounds like now. After that, I laid down another guitar layer just to use it as a background melody. So for that, I went back into Flex and used the Bright Humbucker AC15, which I believe is an electric guitar. That's what it sounds like. The cool thing about this melody is it's the exact same as the initial melody, just the chords are completely drawn out. And again, to give it a more realistic feel, I made sure I strum each of the notes and play with the panning and the velocity. Now I really had to play with the velocity knobs just because I really wanted to sound like it was being played softly instead of just turning the volume down on the channel rack. And much like the initial layer, it sounds pretty dry without any effects, so I wanted to add on some effects to give it some life. For that, threw on another EQ where I rolled out the low end, threw on a fruity reverb 2, and I added on another vintage chorus. With those effects, this is what it sounds like. After those first 2 layers, I added on one more guitar layer, but instead of using Flex, I used Analog Lab, where I used a guitar from Infinite's preset, his Dedication 1 bank, a keyless guitar. It sounds really good by itself, but I also want to add a little bit more. So I added on a fruity reverb, I added effect rack using the long delay channel strip, followed by another vintage chorus. After all that, I throw on the bass. Followed by a guitar echo chamber and some bongos and some ear candy. All together, this is what it sounds like. And that's it for this melody. Tell me what you think about it. Whether you loved it or you hated it, what I can do better, what I can add into it. I'll be back with the next one. So that, comment, like, subscribe, tell a friend, and I'll be back with another video. Peace.